Hello and welcome to the video edition of Space and Sci-Fi News. I'm Jeremy Reimer and I'll be your guide to the most interesting stories each month from astronomy, space science, and science fiction. In September, there was a lot of excitement over the possibility of life on Venus. Astronomers thought they had discovered traces of phosphine in the Venusian atmosphere. Phosphine is a chemical that doesn't normally form from natural geological processes, so there was a small possibility that some kind of biological agent was responsible. However, 3 other teams of astronomers tried to verify the results, and they couldn't find the same evidence of phosphine that the original team did. In some ways, this is disappointing, but it's also a wonderful demonstration of how science works. One group may find an interesting result, and then a whole gaggle of other groups try their hardest to disprove it. Any new finding that can survive this challenge ends up being much stronger for it. Venus is an unlikely candidate for life in any case. The atmosphere is thick with carbon dioxide gas, causing a greenhouse effect that raises temperatures on the ground up to an astounding 470 degrees Celsius. The 2 Soviet-era Venera landers, the only ones that managed to reach the surface, had only a few minutes to take pictures and send them back to Earth before they literally melted. The atmosphere itself isn't quite as hot, but it does frequently rain sulfuric acid. So how do astronomers detect things in the atmosphere anyway? They capture sunlight shining through the clouds at the edge of the planet, put it through a prism, and look for thin dark lines that are caused by certain gases absorbing that exact color of light. The trouble is, sometimes different gases share similar absorption lines. This appears to be what happened in this case. Far more promising candidates for life outside our planet include Europa, a moon of Jupiter that is known to have a liquid ocean underneath a thick layer of ice, and Enceladus, a moon of Saturn, which not only has a similar ice-covered ocean, but frequently shoots up geysers of heated water. From what we know of life on Earth, it requires only water and a source of energy to exist. Enceladus has both. Future probes could fly through the geysers and scan the water droplets for signs of life. A little further out, between the orbits of Earth and Mars, there's an asteroid named Bennu. It's about 490 meters in diameter, approximately the size of the Empire State Building. NASA recently sent out a probe called OSIRIS-REx to boop the asteroid and collect about 400 grams worth of samples of its surface for a return mission to Earth. Why this cute maneuver? Because the asteroid is small enough that its gravity would be too low to make landing easy. The probe would likely bounce off it anyway. So why not make the bounce part of the whole operation? Unfortunately, the probe collected so much asteroid dirt that some of it leaked out into space. Hopefully enough will make it back to make the mission worthwhile. NASA wants to analyze the debris to get a better understanding of how the solar system formed some 4.5 billion years ago, since asteroids formed themselves at that time and have been largely untouched since then. The book of the month is a collection of short stories from Liu Cixin, my apologies for the terrible pronunciation, called To Hold Up the Sky. Liu's breakout novel was The 3-Body Problem, about a malevolent race of aliens from Alpha Centauri who plotted an invasion of Earth and attempted to lay the groundwork with spies and saboteurs centuries before their ships would arrive. The stories in To Hold Up the Sky are mostly from Liu's earlier work, and they deal with familiar science fiction themes from the perspective of someone who has grown up in mainland China. Science fiction has always been a reflection of the author's culture at the time it was written, and it's fascinating to see what that means for someone from a country that has recently rapidly transitioned from a rural society to a high-tech urban one. The sci-fi TV show of the month is Season 3 of Star Trek Discovery. After the climax of the second season, the crew of the Discovery find themselves warped 900 years into the future. But it's not a future they recognize. An unexplained disaster more than a century earlier blew up most of the galaxy's dilithium, making interstellar travel expensive and rare. The Federation has mostly collapsed due to this disaster, but there are a few pockets of people here and there who remember them and yearn for their return. It's a little reminiscent of Gene Roddenberry's Andromeda, but set in the Star Trek universe. So far, I'm having a great time watching the Discovery's crew adjust to their new reality. Worth checking out.